You know, the students were coming in, they asked me, Mel, how do you get your hair to look so good? Well, I use a brush, right? Like you guys do. And I also use a comb. Yeah, a comb. It's hard to part with. Alrighty, let's begin with the Wolves of Indian River. The Vikings of Thousand Islands. Hey. And you out there, welcome to Whiz Quiz.
Production funding for Whiz Quiz is provided by Jefferson Lewis Boces, St. Lawrence Lewis Boces, Jefferson Community College, Samaritan Medical Center, the Northern New York Community Foundation, St. Lawrence Federal Credit Union, and Front Porch Realty. Additional funding is provided in part by the Adirondack Experience, the View Center for Arts and Culture, IBEW Local 910, and O'Reilly Auto Parts of Watertown and Carthage. Scholarships for winning Whiz Quiz teams are provided in part by National Grid, Stewart's Shops, New York Air Brake, Iroquois, and the following fraternal and civic organizations.
Once again, welcome to Whiz Quiz. I'm your host, Mel Busler. It is a pleasure to have you with us tonight. We have two great schools from Jefferson County in this quarterfinal round. We'll be meeting them in just a moment. But most of all, thank you, the viewers of public television, the supporters of public television, for tuning in and helping us, whether it's financially or just by your viewership. We appreciate you being along for the ride this evening. Alrighty, let's meet the contestants for tonight. We're going to begin with Indian River. Give me your first and last name. Tell me a little bit about yourself. We're going to begin with Theo. Hi, Theo.
Hi, I'm Theo Ringette. I am a sophomore at Indian River, and this is my first year on Whiz Quiz. My favorite animal is a fox.
A fox?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Adelaide.
I'm Adelaide Pitts. I'm a junior. This is my first year at Whiz Quiz, and I do field band.
Very good. Are you having a good time so far doing this?
Yeah.
Good. Athena.
Hi, I'm Athena Salinas. I am a senior at Indian River High School. This is my second year of Whiz Quiz. I am on the Indian River Varsity Cross Country, and I am Student Council Vice President.
Cross country runners. Very good. Emma.
Hi, I'm Emma Hinchy. I'm a junior at Whiz Quiz. This is my second year doing Whiz Quiz, and I march the baritone in marching band.
Very good. Nice to have you with us. And you brought your advisor once again this evening, because probably he's buying dinner right after the show, I'm hoping. Kyle Cuppernall is in the building. Kyle. Alrighty, up next is Thousand Islands. We're going to begin with Katie. Hi, Katie.
Hi, my name is Katie Rose. I'm a sophomore at TI. This is my first year at Whiz Quiz, and my favorite hockey team is the Boston Bruins.
Boston Bruins, my favorite hockey team when I was young, like 50 years ago. Alrighty, we move to Seth. Hi, Seth.
Hello, my name is Seth Haas. I'm a junior. This is my second year at Whiz Quiz, and my favorite hockey team is the Toronto Maple Leafs.
The Toronto Maple Leafs. Annabelle.
Hi, my name's Annabelle. I am a junior at Thousand Islands. This is my third year on Whiz Quiz, and I like to watch Clarkson play hockey.
The Golden Knights. Very good. James, last but not least.
Hi, my name is James Connerton. I'm a senior. This is my second year at Whiz Quiz, and my favorite hockey team is the Buffalo Sabres.
The Buffalo Sabres. Kind of a rough start. Hang in there. Nice to have you with us, and it's also nice to have your advisor with us tonight, Melissa Balk, in the building. Raise the roof. Alrighty, let's move right into our first round with Smart Start. Smart Start. The teams are individually asked questions. The other team cannot answer the question. 5 seconds are given to teammates to consult with each other and ring in to give an answer. There's no penalty for a wrong answer. Questions are worth 10 points each. Alrighty, we're going to begin with Indian River, and we'll begin with a history question. What large stadium in Rome hosted gladiator fights? Emma, Indian River.
The Colosseum.
Colosseum is correct. Alrighty, we move over to Thousand Islands. History question. What Roman structure carried water into cities? Seth, Thousand Islands.
An aqueduct?
That is correct. Alrighty, we move back to Indian River. Arts question. What term describes a perfect world in literature? Emma, Indian River.
A utopia.
Utopia is correct. Arts question, we move over to Thousand Islands. What is the opposite of a utopia? James, Thousand Islands.
A dystopia.
That is correct. Science question, back to Indian River. What do enzymes do to reactions? Emma, Indian River.
Facilitate it.
Facilitate is correct. Alrighty, we move back to Thousand Islands. Science question. What are proteins made of? James, Thousand Islands.
Amino acids.
That is correct. Alrighty, math question, Indian River, pick up your pencils. Solve the equation. 16x plus 11 equals 107. Time is up. X equals 6 is what we're looking for. X equals 6. Alrighty, math question for Thousand Islands. Solve the equation. 7x plus 5 equals 33. James, Thousand Islands.
4.
X equals 4 is correct. Alrighty, back to Indian River. History question. What is the introduction to the Constitution called? Emma, Indian River.
The preamble.
Preamble is correct. History question for Thousand Islands. When the president rejects a bill, it is called this. James, Thousand Islands.
A veto.
Veto is correct. Back to Indian River. Arts question. What's the literary term for a play on words? A pun. A pun. Nothing I would know anything about. We move to Thousand Islands. Arts question. What do we call a character who tells the story? James, Thousand Islands.
The narrator.
That is correct. Science question, back to Indian River. What tool is used to hold or heat liquids in experiments? Emma, Indian River.
A Bunsen burner.
That is incorrect. We are looking for a beaker. A beaker. Science question for Thousand Islands. What is the term for the energy needed to start a chemical reaction? Annabelle, Thousand Islands.
The activation energy.
That is correct. Alrighty, we move back to Indian River. Find the missing term in the sequence. Pick up your pencils. 2, 6, 12, blank, 50. Emma, Indian River.
36. 36.
That is incorrect. 30. The last number was 56. Alrighty. Math question. We move over to Thousand Islands. Find the missing term. 2, 10, 30, blank, 130. Time is up. 68. 68 is what we're looking for. Alrighty, let's check the score after that round. Thousand Islands leads Indian River by a score of 70 to 40. You guys are doing good. I'm mediocre. Let's go on to round 2, one-on-one. One-on-one, each individual player is matched up against corresponding position players on the other team. If a student gets the answer wrong, the opposing student has a chance to answer. No consultation allowed. Questions are worth 10 points each. Good luck. We're going to begin with Theo and Katie. History question: who was the U.S. president at the start of the Korean War? Time is up. Harry S. Truman. Alrighty, we move on to arts. Adelaide, Seth. Who wrote The Joy Luck Club? Time is up. Amy Tan. We move to science. Athena, Annabelle. The ability to do work or cause change is called energy. Energy, what we're looking for. Math question, Emma and James. Find the volume of a rectangular tank with length 12 meters, width 6 meters, and height 4 meters. James, Thousand Islands.
288 square or cubic meters.
That is correct. Very good. We move on. History, we'll go back to Theo and Katie. What event helped end the Great Depression? Katie, Thousand Islands.
The New Deal.
That is incorrect, Theo. World War II. World War II. Arts question, and this goes to Adelaide and Seth. Which composer is famous for West Side Story? Leonard Bernstein. Alrighty, science question. Athena and Annabelle. What causes an object in motion to slow down? Annabelle, Thousand Islands.
Negative acceleration.
That is incorrect. Athena? Gravity. We're looking for friction. Friction is what we're looking for. Alrighty, math question. We move to Emma and James. The ratio of red to white roses is 11 to 9. If there are 99 white roses, how many red roses are there? James, Thousand Islands.
121.
That is correct, 121. Alrighty, we move on and we move back to Theo and Katie. History question, what nickname was given to American soldiers in World War I? Time is up. Doughboys. Doughboys. Arts question, Adelaide and Seth. What is a signal to begin a performance called? Seth, Thousand Islands.
A commencement.
That is incorrect. Adelaide.
A cue.
A cue is correct. Very good. All righty. Science question. We go to Athena and Annabelle. The blue eyes gene is an example of what type of gene? Athena, Indian River.
A recessive gene.
That is correct. Alrighty, math question, Emma and James. What is the probability of drawing a king or a queen from a standard deck of cards? James, Thousand Islands.
8 out of 52.
That is correct. Alrighty, that is the end of that round. Let's check the score. And Thousand Islands leads Indian River by a score of 100 to 60. There's no stopping us now. Let's move on to round 3, know and tell. Know and tell questions are directed to both teams. If a team gets an answer wrong, the other team is permitted to answer. Consultations with team members are allowed. Questions are worth 10 points. The third question in a set is a bonus question that can be answered by either team. Bonus questions are worth 15 points. Alrighty, history question. What term describes rapid urban growth? Emma, Indian River.
Urbanization.
That is correct. History question. What is the term for people moving from farms to cities during the Industrial Revolution? James, Thousand Islands.
Urbanization.
That is incorrect. Indian River. Athena.
Industrialization.
No, we're looking for rural migration. Alrighty, history bonus question worth 15 points. What was the movement to ban alcohol partly fueled? Athena, Indian River.
Prohibition.
Movement to ban alcohol partly fueled by poor working conditions. Seth, Thousand Islands.
The temperance movement?
Temperance movement is correct. Alrighty, arts question. What art process uses heat to set glaze on pottery? Theo, Indian River.
The kiln.
That is incorrect. Thousand Islands. James.
Baking.
We're looking for firing. Firing. Okay, arts question. What do you call a tool used to carve into wood or linoleum for printmaking? Athena, Indian River.
A chisel.
That is incorrect. Thousand Islands. James.
An etch.
No, we're looking for a gouge. A gouge. Arts bonus question worth 15 points. What's the name for a decorative first letter in a manuscript? Time is up. A drop cap. Drop cap. Alrighty, we move on. Science question. What type of boundary is the San Andreas Fault? Katie, Thousand Islands.
Transversal.
That is incorrect. Emma, Indian River.
Transform.
Transform boundary is correct. Science question. What is the youngest type of rock on the ocean floor? Seth, Thousand Islands.
Igneous?
That is incorrect. Indian River. Theo.
Metamorphic.
No, we're looking for basalt. Basalt. Okay. Science bonus question worth 15 points. What kind of mountain is formed by magma pushing up the crust? Seth, Thousand Islands.
Volcano?
That is incorrect. Indian River. Emma.
An island mountain?
No, we're looking for dome. Dome is what we're looking for. Math question. What is the z-score of a data point equal to the mean? James, Thousand Islands.
1.
That is incorrect. Indian River. Emma.
0.
0 is correct. Alrighty, math question. If a data point has a z-score of +2, how many standard deviations is it from the mean? James, Thousand Islands.
2.
2 is correct. Math bonus question worth 15 points. What does it mean if a data point's z-score is negative? James, Thousand Islands.
It's below the mean.
That is correct. Alrighty, we move on. History question. Who was president of the Confederacy? Seth, Thousand Islands.
Davis?
Jefferson Davis is correct. History question. What was the first battle of the Civil War? Seth, Thousand Islands.
Fort Constantine?
That is incorrect. Indian River. Time is up. Fort Sumter. Fort Sumter. History bonus question worth 15 points. Where did Robert E. Lee surrender to General Grant? James, Thousand Islands.
Virginia.
That is incorrect. Indian River. Emma.
West Virginia.
No, Appomattox is what we're looking for. Appomattox. Arts. Which instrument is played by sliding a small metal or glass tube? Emma, Indian River.
Never mind. I thought.
Sure. Small metal or glass tube along its strings. Completion of that sentence. Annabelle, Thousand Islands.
A violin.
No, we're looking for slide guitar. Slide guitar. Arts question. What is the musical term for the speed marking fast? James, Thousand Islands.
Tempo.
That is incorrect. Indian River. Time is up. The answer is Allegro. Allegro. Arts bonus question worth 15 points. Which period of music is known for emotional expression and dramatic themes? Seth, Thousand Islands.
Romantic?
Romantic. Alrighty, that is the end of that round. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. Thousand Islands leads Indian River by a score of 165 to 90. Well, in case you've missed a show from this past year or want to go back a few years and check out other shows, easy to do. All you have to do is go online. Watch.wpbstv.org. Now let's move on to round 4. Think fast. Think fast. In this round, either team can answer a question. If your team gets the answer wrong, the other team gets the next question exclusively. Consultation is allowed. Questions are worth 10 points each. History question. What practice used machines to make identical parts? Emma, Indian River.
Copy.
That is wrong. It is standardization is what we're looking for. Standardization. That means that Thousand Islands gets an exclusive question. Who wrote the play Waiting for Godot? James, Thousand Islands.
Melissa Bulk.
That is incorrect, although you're scoring points with your advisor, Melissa Bulk. It is Samuel Beckett is what we're looking for, Samuel Beckett. Science question, what type of ion has a negative charge? Athena, Indian River.
Anion.
That is correct. All righty. The next question is a math question. It'll be on screen. Pick up your pencils, take a look at the screen. Find the degree of a James, Thousand Islands.
5.
5 is correct. All righty, history question. What did FDR try to do to the Supreme Court in 1937? Athena, Indian River.
The court packing plan.
That is correct. Very good. All righty. We move on. Arts. What is a brief story based on real or fictional events? Athena, Indian River.
An anecdote.
That is correct. Science question. This chamber of the heart pumps the blood from the heart to the lungs through the pulmonary artery. Athena, Indian River.
The aortic chamber.
We're looking for right ventricle. Right ventricle is what we're looking for. That means Thousand Islands gets an exclusive question. What is the derivative of x to the 7th power? James, Thousand Islands.
7x to the 6th power.
That is correct. All righty, we move on. History question. What was one major result of the Korean War? Seth, Thousand Islands.
The division of the Korean Peninsula.
That is correct. Arts question. Who wrote Ethan Frome? The answer is Edith Wharton. That's what we're looking for, Edith Wharton. Science question. What is the name for a rotating tropical storm in the Indian Ocean? Athena, Indian River.
A tsunami.
That is incorrect. It is a cyclone. Cyclone is what we're looking for. That means Thousand Islands will get an exclusive question. It's a math question. What is x if the absolute value of x is 3? James, Thousand Islands.
Positive or negative 3.
That is correct. All righty. History question. Which amendment limited the president to 2 terms? Time is up. The 22nd Amendment. Arts question. What is a character's sudden realization called? James, Thousand Islands.
An epiphany.
Epiphany is correct. Science question. What term describes the temperature change in elevation? Time is up. The lapse rate. And this is the last question of the evening. Math question. When working with a function such as f of x equals x, what are the possible values of f of x? Emma.
X.
That is incorrect. We're looking for the range. The range is what we're looking for. Let's check the final score for this evening. And Thousand Islands has defeated Indian River by a score of 215 to 120. That means that Thousand Islands will be moving on to further competition. Join us next time, won't you? Messina takes on Lafargeville. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great night.
Production funding for Whiz Quiz is provided by Jefferson Lewis Boces, St. Lawrence Lewis Boces, Jefferson Community College, Samaritan Medical Center, the Northern New York Community Foundation, St. Lawrence Federal Credit Union, and Front Porch Realty. Additional funding is provided in part by the Adirondack Experience, the View Center for Arts and Culture, IBEW Local 910, and O'Reilly Auto Parts of Watertown and Carthage. Scholarships for winning Whiz Quiz teams are provided in part by National Grid, Stewart's Shops, New York Airbrake, Iroquois, and the following fraternal and civic organizations.